This is my friend Vladimir. He's the associate pastor at this church where we're holding a medical clinic in Ukraine today. And I was talking with him earlier. He was asking me some questions about how we reached people, how we started our church, how we built our church in America. And I turned it around on him and I said, how were you reached? And he told me that he became a Christian when he was 16 years old. And I want you to hear from him the rest of the story.
I came to the Lord when I was 16 years of age. For me, a great influence and witness were the things that my grandfather told me. My grandfather was in Siberia and was put in prison for his faith. Basically, every night while he was in prison, they would take the prisoners out. They would beat them. They would try to get them to forsake their faith, and my grandfather said that this was a long time that this went on. But during this time he was in prison, my grandfather said that he received a special revelation from God that encouraged him greatly. My grandfather shared with me one special miracle God did for him while he was in prison. They fed them very poorly in prison. One night, he prayed to God that he had to have something to eat. It was winter, and he said, "Lord, if you don't feed me something, I'm going to starve to death. I'm going to die." And he prayed to the Lord, and he said the Lord showed him in his spirit to go outside the door. When he went outside the door, there was snow on the ground everywhere, and laying there on the snow was a great big pot of food. No fire, no nothing, and it had kasha in it, which is like a porridge. He looked around, and there wasn't any in any other places. It was only at his place. So he went out to where the pot was, and he was afraid that because he was so hungry, and that he hadn't been fed in so long, and they were almost starving, that he was afraid that if he ate a lot, that it might make him very sick. But he ate it anyway, and he didn't get sick. He said that from all the miracles God did, that was one of the greatest miracles he did while he was in prison. For my grandfather, this was not just stories. This was real in his life. This really happened. And when I heard those testimonies and other testimonies of the great things God did in his life, it made me want to experience this in my life. I wanted to experience what he had. I prayed to God when I was 16 that God would give me a real heart of repentance, not just a mechanical, going through the motions repentance, but real, sincere, heartfelt turning to Him. I didn't just want to say, "Oh God, forgive me," and just go about my way. I wanted it to be really true and real. God gave that to me, and He came into my heart, and He gave me this living faith, like my grandfather. He still gives me strength to this day.
Спасибо.